With Jamaica's first confirmed Zika virus case, we here at the JIS are reminding you to take the necessary precaution to keep your surroundings free from the aedes aegypti mosquito. And we're not only talking about your home, we're talking about your school, church, work, any and everywhere you go. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Audrey Williams. We have a lot in store for you, so please stay with us.
All the people them with the Zika V, hold up your hand. Zika V in the Caribbean territory, but we now want that virus take set pan we. So make sure send no stagnant water inside and mash up all mosquito breed inside. More hole in the tin them where you dash way and change the water in your vase every day. No later dispose of your garbage proper. You know them the thing they we turn drain blacker. Tour your community and tour your yard for suppress mosquito. We have figure hard dash we all tire turn over drum pan for prevention is the greatest weapon. And special shout out to pregnant ladies. Protect yourselves and protect your babies. Draw for your zapper and your mosquito spray. If you do all that we can to keep them away. How we now was it be?
Good day, I'm Tamara Michaela and this is your JIS News for Monday, February 1. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller has announced that Jamaicans will go to the polls for a general election on Thursday, February 25. In a presentation Sunday night, the Prime Minister said she has asked the Governor-General to dissolve Parliament this Friday, February 5. Nomination day will be on Tuesday, February 9, and the general elections will be held 16 days after. Elections in Jamaica are due 5 years after the day of the previous election, or within 5 years and 3 months of the date of the first sitting of the new Parliament. The Prime Minister, however, has the authority to call an election at an appropriate time. The last general election in Jamaica was held on December 29, 2011. The Ministry of Health says there is adequate medication available in the public health system at this time to treat the symptoms of Zika virus infection in the event of additional cases being identified. On the weekend, the ministry confirmed one case of the Zika virus in Jamaica. The patient, who has now recovered, is a 4-year-old child from Portmore, St. Catherine, who began showing symptoms after returning to Jamaica from travel to Texas in the United States last month. The child was investigated at the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and samples were subsequently sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency, which returned the positive test result late Friday afternoon. The ministry says no other family member is ill at this time, but its investigations continue to determine the source of the infection and to determine whether there are other cases. Vector control activities have also been heightened, and the ministry is advising persons, particularly pregnant women, to take extra precaution to prevent being bitten by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which transmits the Zika virus. More beneficiaries under the Land Administration and Management Program LAMP will now access funds to apply for and process their land titles. This as the MOU governing a $90 million Development Bank of Jamaica grant has been modified. Before, only LAMP beneficiaries in certain parishes who satisfied certain conditions were able to access the DBJ grant facility.
I am pleased to announce that the DBJ has, in association with the Ministry of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change, modified the terms of the MOU. It is now more flexible so that persons can access the financial assistance they need.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller was speaking on Friday as she issued 168 land titles under LAMP. Since 2012, LAMP has delivered 4,876 titles. The Cabinet Subcommittee on Ganja has given instructions for interim regulations to be drafted for the cannabis industry. The instructions came last week after an exhaustive process which included consultation with key stakeholders by the Cannabis Licensing Authority, CLA. The interim regulations will govern the licensing regime for the cultivation, harvesting, processing or manufacturing, transporting and retailing of ganja. This latest development comes just 9 months after the amendments to the Dangerous Drugs Act came into effect, and less than 8 months after the Cannabis Licensing Authority was formed. The authority is charged with developing and administering the regulatory framework for industrial hemp, as well as ganja for medical, therapeutic, and scientific purposes. Implementation of the interim regulations will pave the way for the authority to begin issuing licenses, permits and authorizations in keeping with the regulations. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has launched a $42.9 million support project for small poultry farmers. The initiative is part of the ministry's 2-year livestock development project and will assist over 2,000 farmers with training and distribution of chickens. Agriculture Minister Derek Kelly says the program will enable the farmers to achieve improved levels of productivity and profit while ensuring food security for Jamaica.
Poultry meat is the #1 consumed meat in Jamaica and is a shared market by both commercial and backyard farmers. These small farmers have invested heavily in these operations, and the Ministry through its extension services has ensured that the farmers have the available resources and training to be successful.
The initiative is being done under the All-Island Small Farmer Poultry Project and implemented by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA. Data from the Agriculture Ministry has indicated that chicken production has increased significantly over the past 5 years, moving from 104.5 million kilograms in 2010 to more than 112 million kilograms in 2015. And finally, 60 students are now the proud beneficiaries of new facilities at the Barbara E. Lee Hing Banana Ground Basic School in Manchester. The new building houses a number of classrooms, a computer lab, play area, bathrooms, kitchen, canteen, and more. It was donated by Food for the Poor Jamaica in partnership with Christus Ministries. Education Minister Reverend Arnold has expressed gratitude for the donation.
We're onto a good thing here, you know. Over the past 4 years, we've been able to construct over 120 new early childhood institutions, and I pay tribute this evening to Food for the Poor for having been a major participant in that.
The building was named in honor of the late Barbara E. Lee Hing for her many philanthropic works. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thanks for watching. Fever, rash, joint pain and red eyes. All common signs of the Zika virus or ZIKV. Symptoms are usually mild, lasting anywhere from a few days to a week. Jamaica has no Zika cases, but if it gets here, it would only be transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Don't give Zika a chance. Prevent the breeding of these pesky mosquitoes.
The use of oil, cooking oil, a little tip of cooking oil poured on the surface of the water suffocates the larvae and prevents them hatching out. So persons can do that.
We catch up with Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller as she made major moves this past week, among them launching the Jamaican Athletes Insurance Plan and issuing 168 titles under LAMP. Take a look.
National elections planned for February 25. 1,323 athletes covered on the Jamaican Athletes Insurance Plan. More LAMP beneficiaries to access DBJ grant. And government commits to restorative justice. With Jamaica House Weekly, I'm Andrea Chisholm. Jamaicans will participate in the 17th general elections since independence on Thursday, February 25. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller made the announcement Sunday night. Parliament is to be dissolved on Friday, February 5, with nomination day set for Tuesday, February 9.
I am pleased to launch the Jamaican Athletes Insurance Plan. May this be a perpetual symbol of our national commitment to sport and to the well-being of our athletes.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller launched the Jamaican Athletes Insurance Plan last Thursday. 1,323 athletes between age 6 and 70 from 28 national associations and federations will be covered for the next 3 years. Government will fund 95% of the insurance and the remainder will be covered by the federations and associations. Guardian Life has been selected to provide health coverage for the athletes, while Allied Insurance Brokers will provide personal accident insurance. Each athlete will get $2.25 million for group personal accident and $2.5 million for accidental death and dismemberment. The Jamaican Athletes Insurance Plan is funded by the Sports Development Foundation, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, the National Health Fund, and the Culture, Health, Arts, Sports and Education Chase Fund. The plan takes effect today. More Jamaicans are poised to receive land titles under the Land Administration and Management Program LAMP.
I am pleased to announce that the DBJ has, in association with the Ministry of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change, modified the terms of the MOU. It is now more flexible so that persons can access the financial assistance they need.
Previously, the Development Bank of Jamaica's $90 million grant only covered some parishes and some categories of beneficiaries. It provides them with funds to cover the cost of applications for titles. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller announced the changes to the program on Friday as she issued 168 land titles on the LAMP.
The government of Jamaica is committed to the passage of legislation in the near future to formalize the use of restorative justice.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller voiced that commitment on Sunday as she launched Restorative Justice Week under the theme Restorative Justice and/or Social Responsibility. She used the occasion to encourage Jamaicans to support the practices of forgiveness, responsibility and restitution, which are all part of restorative justice.
There's our hope that restorative justice will lead to a more forgiving, caring Jamaica. When that is achieved, I believe there will be greater levels of peace and security in our communities and certainly our nation.
To date, 9 restorative justice centers have been established across the island. On Sunday, Mrs. Simpson Miller also reiterated her call for greater care and protection for the nation's children. Her message was delivered by Information Minister Senator Sandria Faulkner at a prayer breakfast held by the Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Christians.
We can begin by returning to the days when the community nurtured and cared for the children. If you know of instances of children being abused, don't keep silent or turn a blind eye.
The prayer breakfast was held under the theme, Save Our Children, Save Our Future. Back at Jamaica House on Tuesday, Prime Minister Simpson Miller welcomed the new Chinese ambassador to Jamaica. The two spoke of deepening Jamaica-China relations, which has already resulted in a number of developments, chief among them the north-south leg of Highway 2000. And on Friday, Mrs. Simpson Miller was guest of honor at a traditional Chinese Spring Festival held by the Chinese ambassador. And upon news that renowned painter Barrington Watson had passed, Prime Minister Simpson Miller sent condolences to the family and friends of the master painter. Mrs. Simpson Miller hailed Watson as one of the most influential artistic figures in post-independent Jamaica. The Prime Minister also commended Professor Watson for his impactful contribution to art education in the country. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Do join us next time for the latest stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
That's the old way of doing things. Introducing Government of Jamaica Electronic Procurement, a speedy, transparent and accessible online method used to bid for government contracts. Contact the Ministry of Finance and Planning for more information.
It's the first day of the month in which we celebrate one of our indigenous art forms. Catch the story next.
If reggae can ever be edged to a set place, then 13 Brentford Road is its home. It was here at Studio One in 1968 that Rocksteady briefly went back 20 years, married the folk rhythms of Mento, and gave birth to reggae.
Up to 8, 6, then reggae.
The guitar led the reggae music orchestra, and the bass maintained the melodic patterns in the background. It is interesting to note that even though the fusion would change the course of local music history forever, it was to be one of its most celebrated strokes of luck.
No, I didn't really want to give out this piece of information, but since we're at it, I won't be mean. Clement Dad brought a piece of machinery to the studio for about a year. It was sitting there. And no one knew exactly what to do with it. And so they hooked it up one day and decided to implement it. And they discovered it was a tape delay. And so they hooked it into the machine and they started doing it into the recording. So when they put the guitar sound through the tape delay, it comes back saying that chick, 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 chick. The rest of studios hearing this recording out there thought it was the guitar making that and just copied that, and that was the birth of reggae music.
Jackie Mitu invited Larry Marshall to try out on the new sound. The experiment yielded Nanny Goat and Baby Tell Me Why. But it was Toots and the Maytals, Do the Reggae, that christened the music form forever. Reggae would deliver dance crowds from the sluggish rocksteady beat. The people needed a change in pace. Reggae upped the tempo. Reggae turned up the heat on some of the social and economic challenges that the people were facing. It premiered as the voice of the people. Reggae was a potent messenger for the Rastafari philosophy, which single-handedly cemented the music form as a cornerstone of Jamaican culture. Bob Marley was one of them who took to the music and the teachings. Marley had been around from the ska era. In 1961, he and a couple of his brethren, Peter Tosh and Bunny Livingston, formed the Rude Boys, which later became known as the Wailers. The teachings were often put to music in either Sir Coxson's Studio One or Duke Reid's Treasure Isle recording studios. The recording sessions overflowed with free-spiritedness and an abundance of talent. Hits were made by ear.
Studio One happens to be the station.
Studio One is widely regarded as the mecca of reggae music.
Studio One is called the University of Reggae Music. And as an artist, if you didn't work your way through that university, you would not be a complete artist.
This is the Motown of the Caribbean. Everything started right here, so, so right now you have to give a lot of respect to Mr. Dodd because he had a very good ear for music.
The local music industry learned the rudiments of music distribution as early as the 1940s, when English fans showed a willingness to buy its R&B covers. When American rhythm and blues were hard to come by, sound system owners Duke Reid and Sir Coxsone Dodd got artists like Stanley Motto to make their own. With the advent of a global village through the economic, social, and political phenomenon called globalization, It is now beyond one's mental facets, where this world-shaking cultural mystique known to humanity as simply reggae will take Jamaica, land we love. Whithersoever it goes, we go.
It's Reggae Month, and what better way to celebrate the month than looking at how music impacts us?
You have to actually listen to other persons while you're playing, while as focused on what you're doing.
This is the cello. It's the middle of the string instrument. The strings are easy to remember, and it's easy to play. I'm not wonderfully great in it, but I know that I can do something.
Anytime I'm having a bad day, I just turn on my radio, listen to my songs, or play my violin. And it kind of calms down everything.
3 promising young persons sharing one goal. They are among many others seeking to take full advantage of the offerings of the National Youth Orchestra of Jamaica. Lying at its core, classical music and its transformational powers.
If the music is quiet and calming, it actually can lower our blood pressure. If the music is fast, then it can actually increase our heartbeat, and it also affects our brain waves, because the brain has different frequencies of brain waves according to how active we are. So the music gets in sync with the brain waves, so it can actually affect our brains.
Here's a simple question. Would you exercise with slow-paced music in the background? Or even try to fall asleep while listening to hardcore dancehall, for example? That's right. Without us even thinking about it, music has a big part to play in how we do things. The effects of music on individuals are far-reaching. It has the potential to affect the physical, intellectual, emotional, psychological, spiritual, and social aspects of our lives.
I'm from Maxfield Avenue. Living in such area, you know, lots of violence and stuff. When I want to escape, I think of my cello and just think of the music, that it just imagine that I'm playing it and just escape and go to that special place.
We've seen people who moved from fighting each other to helping each other in the classes. Like when we first started, it used to be, oh my goodness, you're playing the wrong note. What kind of thing that? You're making us playing it again. And now it's like, okay, you're having problems, let me help you.
While it's perhaps easy to understand the potential that classical music has to calm us in stressful situations, it is the physical and intellectual benefits which might amaze most.
There is a connection between the mind and the body. So when we have negative thoughts and we have a feeling of hatred, then our immune system doesn't function very well.
I met one kid in Colombia. He was hyperactive, and he turned out to be a great violist just by focusing his energies into music.
We find that high frequency sounds like strings, flute, and so on actually seem to make more connections in the brain. So that's why they think that if you play music for babies, even in the womb, because they can hear, that those high frequency sounds actually make more brain connections, so they're brighter kids.
Music is simple like maths and English.
Music by itself has many positives, but for those who are part of musical groups, there are added benefits too.
It has a lot of discipline.
You'll have to interact with all of your partners. You will have to learn to listen to each other. So that way you will improve your personal relationships with everyone else.
It teaches you how to act as a team, so it gives you critical problem-solving skills.
While it's a fact that soft, soothing music works wonders, the experts are not denying there is a place for loud, pulsating music, but they suggest everything in moderation.
It helps sometimes to get rid of frustration, and sometimes that really is necessary. But we can't have it all the time, because anything you pay attention to manifests.
So with all the benefits outlined, it may be worth more than its weight in gold to slow down, pay attention, and change the beat.
It keeps our bodies working, our food nutritious, our living and working spaces clean, and our lives comfortable. Water, the most precious resource necessary for the sustenance of life on our planet. Don't waste it. Let's conserve on this critical commodity. In the house, invest in storage containers and buckets. Take quick showers instead of long baths, and invest in water-efficient shower heads, toilets, and faucets. You may also want to consider one-pot meals and cooking methods that don't require much water. You could also wash fruits and vegetables in a bowl and reuse the water on your plants or grass. When cleaning dishes, fill both sinks and use one for washing and the other for rinsing. The leftover water can be used to wash off the concrete or asphalt in your yard. If you must wash your car at home, aim for once a fortnight and use a bucket to do the washing instead of running the hose. Don't delay. Start your water conservation practices today.
And that's our show. As we close, we want to remind you to take the necessary precaution to ensure that you and your family are Zika free. For tips, visit our website, jis.gov.jm, and our Facebook and Twitter pages. You should also download our mobile app from the Google Play Store. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Audrey Williams. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.